What is going on, guys? My name is Bill Matthews from the 𝗙𝗹𝗶𝗹 YouTube channel, and today's video is going to be for all of you beginner bass anglers out there that just want to learn how to put more fish in the boat. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to break down my two most effective techniques on just how to catch bass. So if you guys are struggling to find fish, catch fish, today's video is going to be perfect for you guys. So stick around, stay tuned, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to put more fish in the boat. The very first technique that I'm going to show you guys is the Wacky Worm, and it is one of the simplest lures to rig up. So all you really need is a tiny little finesse hook. Right here we have a size 1 zone lock finesse hook, and you take a 4 or 5 inch Senko. That's usually what I go with. All you do is you hook it dead center right in the middle of that Senko. You are rigged up, ready to go. That thing is a fish catching machine. Probably has caught more bass than any other lure in the market. So this is going to be number one. I'm going to show you guys how to rig up the other lure here in just a second, then we are going to get to fishing here. The second fish catching machine that I'm going to show you guys today is the Ned rig, and this is basically the Wacky Worm of the modern day. So the Wacky Worm has been around probably for around 10 years or so is when it kind of became popularized, and it's been slaying bass for the past like decade or so. The Ned rig, I think that this probably came onto the market about 5 to 6 years ago is when it really started blowing up, but really in the past like 2 or 3 years, this has become a staple in pretty much every single fisherman that I know's tackle box. And also, just like the Wacky Worm, it is very simple to rig up. And all you do is you take a little Ned rig head. Z-Man makes some, 𝗙ecie𝗹𝗹𝗶 makes some as well. They make a little deadbolt head. And I like using the little finesse TRDs. It is the original Ned rig, and it just flat out catches fish. The Guggen bait's rattling Ned rig's really solid. The 𝗙cie𝗹𝗶𝗶𝗹 is also a very solid Ned rig bait, but for today's video demonstration, we're just going to use the original. And all you do with this is you find exactly where that hook is going to pop out, just kind of like you were throwing a Texas rig or anything like that. And you slide this hook on there as straight as you possibly can, pop the hook right out of the bait. And then the only other thing that I do, this is optional, I like to take a little bit of super glue and I put a little dab right in the head right there, because what these Ned rigs do is they have that elastic plastic, so they're super durable. And if you put a little bit of super glue on there, you could probably catch like 50 to 100 bass and never have to change this bait. So that's what we're gonna do here. We have both of the rigs rigged up here, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly where I like to fish these and how to work these baits so you guys are gonna catch more bass. But we're about to go do that, so stay tuned, guys. We are at the first spot, and we are gonna start out with the Ned rig here because the water is a little bit deeper. That's kind of the thing with these two baits right here. If you are a beginner bass fisherman, these are literally the only two baits you need, because the Ned rig, you're going to be able to fish in current, you're going to be able to fish it in deeper water. That Wacky Worm right there is great for shallow water, vegetation, around docks, stuff like that. So throughout the video, we're going to kind of break that down for you guys. But first spot, we're probably sitting in about 10 foot of water. We don't even have any electronics on this boat or anything like that, but all we're looking for right now is, as you guys can see, there's some vegetation right here to the left. Right where that grass starts to end, that's right where that drop off starts, and we're going to get into that deeper water, and that's what we're trying to set up with and start to fish this Ned rig with. So I'm going to break down exactly how to fish this thing. Really, all you're doing is casting it out there, letting it get all the way down to the bottom, make sure that your line has stopped moving, and it's super simple to fish. All you really do is lift up to it and give it a couple little shakes. Just drag it along the bottom. Couple little shakes, drag it along the bottom, and all you're gonna feel is a sharp tick, or you're gonna feel that fish pick it up and start running to either side. First spot of the day, we're gonna catch a couple fish on this Ned rig, and then we're gonna move on and show you guys some more stuff, more ways to catch more bass. There we go, on the Ned rig. Popped it out of those weeds and she smoked it. First one of the day. That was literally second cast, guys. That is how easy these baits catch fish. They're absolutely fish slaying machines. That's a nice sized bass right there. Not a bad one to start it off. Check that out on that freaking Ned rig. Come in the boat here, sweetie. Nice solid 1.5 pounder right there off that brake line. Just throwing that little Z-Man Ned rig. It is literally that easy. 2 casts, and we already got that nice bass in the boat right there. But like I said, gonna try to catch a few more right off this break. Then we're gonna go try to fish some docks or some of those weeds with the Wacky Worm a little bit shallower. Get that fish back in the water there. Nice solid 14, 15 inch bass. Going back down there. Let's get another one, boys. The key with this Ned rig is to work it really, really slow too. You don't want to overwork this bait. Basically, just let it do all the work. It's sitting down there and it's standing straight up in the air. That's all those fish want to see. If you start really cranking this thing, hopping it all crazy, you're going to get less bites. All you're doing is maintaining that bottom contact and working it really, really slow. That's what's really going to get those fish to eat this thing. Here we go. There we go. She came back for it. She came back for it. Popped her on the Ned rig right off that break. She hit it and she dropped it, and then she came right back for it. That's what a lot of people too, when you guys miss a fish, a lot of people will reel their bait back in, but usually it's better off if you just leave it right there. A lot of times those fish are gonna be all jacked up and aggressive and they'll come right back and eat that thing instantly. So we left our bait right there in the strike zone and she ate it just like that. Another solid little 12-inch bass, getting her back in the water. And I think that what we're gonna do now, so we caught 2 fish off this break. We're gonna move up on the top of this point and it's a huge flat full of gravel. So that's another place that we're gonna be able to target fish with that Ned rig. So we're gonna move up there. I'm gonna show you guys exactly what we're gonna do with the Ned rig over there. And then we're probably gonna move into the Wacky Worm, where you're gonna throw that and exactly how you're gonna work that bait as well. Polar opposite of what we were just fishing. Just a second ago, we were out off that break fishing in around 10 foot of water. Now we are up shallow in like 2 to 3 feet of water. And we're gonna be working this Ned rig over the top of all sorts of different rocks, pebbles, and sand flat. We're basically just fishing a big flat full of sand and rocks. So the Ned rig is gonna be a versatile bait for you. You're gonna be able to fish it around grass out deep. And then also another one of my favorite places to fish this thing is an area just like this. So we're gonna drag this around up shallow here, see if there's any of these fish up shallow cruising around, looking to eat a Ned. And then, like I said, we're gonna move into that Wacky Worm, bait number 2 for the day. There we go. Off that shallow gravel flat. What do we got? This is super small. Oh no. That is not what we are after right now. That is a very small bass, but first one up on this little gravel flat right here. Obviously not quite the size. Those bigger ones might be off that break. Since we are in the dead of summer, the water temperature is in that like 80 to 85 degree range. A lot of those bigger fish are going to be out deep. So this is definitely a technique for the Ned rig, but more of a springtime deal. So we might not get any big ones up shallow here in the summer. We are going to try to catch one more on the Ned rig before we move on to the Wacky Worm though. So as I just mentioned in that last clip, I was not sure if that Ned rig was going to work up on those shallow rocks. Like I said, that is more of a spring and a fall technique. Didn't pan out for us today, so we are jumping into technique number 2, and that is the Wacky Worm. And as you guys can see, we have rowed across the lake, and I'm going to show you guys how to fish a Wacky Worm around docks and all this vegetation over here. So we're going to jump right into that right here. One of the things that makes the Wacky Worm such a great lure is it's one of the easiest baits that you could skip underneath boat docks. So all you have to do to skip underneath the boat dock right here, guys, is you're going to want to reel up until you have about 1 or 2 foot of line hanging off the tip of the rod. You're going to want to make sure that the rod tip is nice and low to the water. You want to make that nice side arm sweep. Keep that bait really, really close to the water, and you're just going to want to glide it up underneath that dock just like that. And in the summertime, even though they're not going to be on those shallow gravel flats, as you guys saw earlier, a lot of times these docks, they have all this shade, and those bass are going to go up in there and use that shade. A lot of bluegills are going to go underneath that dock and use that shade as well, so the bass will follow them underneath there. And that's kind of what we're going to roll with this Wacky Worm here just for a second. Try to catch a few fish off these docks and just show you guys exactly what that looks like. But really, really easy, simple technique. Like I said, the Ned rig and the Wacky Worm, these are going to be your absolute workhorses. If you guys are just getting into bass fishing, you can catch a ton of fish. So let's move on to the next dock and try to put one in the boat. Got him underneath that dock. So pretty much with the dock bite, all you're really doing is you're skipping it back underneath there, and it's going to be a straight reaction strike. So you could pretty much lift up almost instantly, and if there's a bass under that dock, it's probably already got that 𝗙𝗶𝗹𝗶 in its mouth just like that. So not a giant, but we're going to go fish some pads and hopefully get on some bigger fish for you guys for the last little technique with this Wacky Worm. So the very last thing that we're going to be doing today with this little Wacky Worm is fishing the edge of these lily pads, and it's probably the easiest thing that we've done all day. All you want to do is you want to take your Wacky Worm, cast it right on the edge of those pads, and all you're going to do is wait like 3 to 5 seconds depending on how deep it is. 1, 2, 3, and then you just lift up. And one of these times this Wacky Worm is going to flutter down right on the edge of these pads. There's going to be a bass right there, and we are going to smoke one. But very, very easy to do. A lot of these fish are going to be pushed up underneath these pads, especially since we have wind pushing back in the back of this pocket here. And we're going to bust one up here real quick for you guys, so stick around, stay tuned. Going to get the last fish of the day on this little 𝗙𝗶𝗶, fishing these pads. There we go. There we go. Right at the edge of those pads. Just lifted it up and felt that one pop it. Feels like an all right fish on the 𝗙𝗶𝗶, boys. Oh, it's a freaking nice one. It's a freaking nice one. She just got airborne on us. Come on, baby. Come on in this boat. Beautiful 𝗙𝗶𝗶 bass. Come on, Bessie. That's what we're talking about. That's the kind of fish we are after right there. right up inside of the boat. Well, boys and girls, we took probably like 20-30 casts on the edge of these lily pads and finally just got us a nice little 14-15 incher right there on the 𝗙𝗹𝗋. Okay, well that pretty much does it for this video, guys. We're gonna do a little outro, just kind of break down these baits one last time, but we pretty much showed you could catch a fish on these baits all around the lake. Just my go-to baits. If you guys are struggling to catch bass, these are the absolute go-tos, the Ned rig and this 𝗙𝗹𝗋 like that. But gotta get that fish back in the water and wrap this video up for you guys. So that is gonna be a wrap on that little bass fishing basics video. I hope you guys learned something from today's video. Definitely get out there, try the Ned rig, try the Wacky Worm, throw it around those areas that I was talking about in the video and you guys will catch fish. I promise you, those are proven winners. They catch fish literally everywhere around the country. And definitely just get out there and give it a shot. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.